Hey everyone, it's Jennifer with Rooted in the Rock, and I've got something dropping from the education branch right now. Hey everyone, welcome to Rooted in the Rock. I'm so glad you're here. Now today we are going back to the education bit that we started before, which is alternatives to public education. I talked about in the previous video, I talked about all the different options. So now we're going to kind of like drill into those options one at a time, because there are so many options in each of the sets of options. It's a lot. So I'm breaking it up into parts. It's going to end up in 5 parts.
Wait a minute, hold up. Hey, future me, just for a second. Okay, I completely forgot about wearing the education hat. So I'm just gonna pop it up here and leave it for the rest of the video, and you can just pretend it's on my head. Thanks, bye.
So today is Alternatives to Public Education, Part 1, Local School System Online. So the section today, Local System Online program from your local system. It's still technically public school, however, it is all at home. Okay, so not all school systems have this now. You will have to check with your local school system. Ours does, so I'm going to talk about ours as just as an example, but you will have to check with the local school system in your area to see what exactly, if they have a program and how theirs works. So for an example, today, our local school system, the county system, has an online program. It's the county online campus, and there are 3 different sections of it, 3 different ways you can use it. One is full-time, where you're just at home the whole time. You don't actually go to the school, but you do the school stuff from the local system, but all online at home. Their second one is supplemental, so you can take supplemental, like individual classes, supplemental things. And the third is summer school. Now, so first, full-time. They call it the blended approach. The blended approach. So theirs it's not exactly all online at home. They go once a week in person, so 1 day a week in person, and they have opportunity labs. So especially for the upper grades like high school, you have to get those in high school. It works a little bit different, and you have to get certain lab credits and things like that. So with your 1 day a week in person, that's when you can get those labs done and have that lab time. And it also may be virtual, so they could do live virtual classes with the teacher instead, depending on what's going on. And there is an additional in-person opportunity in the afternoon. I'm not sure exactly what that looks like, but let's just say they say blended, I think, because it's part in person and part online, but it's really, 1 day a week, and sometimes it's via video, not necessarily even in person, but it's mostly at home. Okay. Then the supplemental. Now the supplemental at our school system is grades 6 to 12. So that's middle school and high school. Both of them. They can take up to 5 classes without a fee. So this is in addition to going to public school. That the supplemental is like in addition to regular school. You can take up to 5 classes without a fee, and you can pay a fee and take more than that even. I know. For me, I'm like, I don't know if I'd want to go to school all day, have homework that night, every night, and in addition, take other classes that take more time for class and more time for homework. I can't imagine. I can't imagine doing a load like that. Like, you're sure, I don't know. some people might have, if they're gifted or whatever and they just want to, but most people, personally, I would feel like just let them be a kid. That's too much. You don't need to work your kids to the bone. Anyway, that's just my personal opinion. I think that's a bit much. But if someone's needing the supplemental, I can see where it could be useful, where if you're just wanting like one class or two classes and you're wanting to do something like make up some math, like you're behind in something and you need to take an extra to kind of catch up. Or like we have a homeschooling friend who this year she's been taking extra classes elsewhere. They go to our old school, which is a hybrid school and a hybrid homeschool Christian school, and she's been taking extra classes online at home from somewhere else because she's really into marine biology, and like really seriously she wants to be a marine biologist. And so that she wants to get a leg up on that, and she wants to get started now. She's in middle school, she wants to get started now, so she's been taking extra online stuff just for that. So I can see where someone might want to do that depending on their interest, what they're wanting to do. I can see that. But in addition to full-time public school, it feels like too much to me. But that's my personal opinion. Like I said, it's circumstantial. It depends. So anyway, you can pay for more after school or summer, and you must meet with a counselor or administrator to start. So this isn't something that you can just decide to do and sign up and do it. You have to meet with the administration and get approved and all that kind of stuff. So I guess that's kind of their way of like, let's make sure people aren't going nuts with this, right? And then their third section is summer school. Now, the summer school, for at least for ours, the online summer school for our county system is only grades 9 to 12. So it's only high school. So they, in their view, it's to get ahead or make up a class, which is great. Like, I could get behind that. A lot of times, especially in high school, if you don't pass a class or you had trouble or maybe you had a death in the family and things got messed up for whatever reason, you might have to make it up or you're falling behind. And so it's a good way. And I would even say maybe you like barely scraped by the skin of your teeth, like you had a barely passing D. It would be a good idea to take that class again over the summer and just solidify it, because when you get to the next class, if you just barely pass the one before, you're going to have an even harder time in the next one, especially with math. So, especially with math, I think that's always the example that comes to me first, but that's pretty cool. Anyway, there's an in-person final required. So I think for the summer school classes, I think they do it pretty much all online at home, but you do have to come in person for the final exam. Up to 2 free if you're making up classes. There are classes you have to make up. More than 2, or if you're just doing it to get ahead, it is tuition based. So you do have to pay extra for it. The non-county system students are allowed. So if you're not in the county system, if you're maybe homeschooling, or maybe you don't live in the county, maybe you live in a different, like in one of the surrounding counties or something like that, you can still use it. You just have a slightly higher fee. I don't know what the fee is exactly. Like I said, it doesn't matter anyway, because you'll have to check with your local system and see exactly. So the rising 9th graders can do some of it for summer school. So the ones that are just finished 8th grade, so summer after 8th grade, they will let you do some, but it's health and PE only. Health and PE only to make room for electives. So it's kind of like old school where you have to have this class and this class. There's certain ones you have to have, and then there's certain ones you can pick. Health and PE are one of those. And I think that's kind of cool, where they give you the opportunity to do that in the summer. And that way, during the school year, that's pretty cool. I like that. During the school year, you can have more space for electives. And really, summertime is better for depending on what you're doing, I think summertime is great for like PE and health because that's when you can really get out and do stuff anyway. So that is for our local system. Like I said, like a million times already, sorry. But like I said, check with your local system, see what their program is. If we've been talking about alternatives to public education. This is technically public education, but it's also an alternative to the standard, normal, always done it this way go of it. Okay, so perhaps you're in the local system and you still need to be in a local system. It's not working, but you can't really afford to do anything else, or maybe you don't have time to homeschool. Maybe you need to stick with the local system, but you're trying, looking for a way to change it up, or, according to your needs or what's going on. This is an option. Check with your local school system. A lot of them, since the pandemic, have started doing online learning programs. I would say, now I don't know, I haven't, looked into specific counties elsewhere, county or city, depending on where you live. Where we live, technically where we live, we have a city school system, but our county is the big school system, and our city within our county just happens to have their own. I think it's the only one in the county that has its own besides the county. So the county is really the big one, and then our city just happens to have their own. Depending on where you live, it could be that way. So it might be city, it might be county, but wherever like you live and you could technically go to school for free, that's the one I'm talking about. So check on their website, or you can ask a teacher. More likely you'll find it more on the website with the administration. But like I said, since the pandemic, you never know. Go ahead and check, because school systems that maybe didn't have it 2 years ago might be piloting it or starting it this next year. So just check with yours, see if they have it, and see what all of their rules and regulations with it are. They might have only do a partial, or they might have an online system, but only if you meet certain requirements, like for special needs or this or that. It just depends. They all vary. And most everybody's pretty new with it too. So I would say be patient. Ours has been doing it for several years. Really a lot, like when the pandemic started, they were one of the few in the nation that were already doing it. So most everybody is pretty new at it. So I don't want to say take that with a grain of salt, but just keep that in mind. But it could be extremely helpful depending on what your needs are. So that is today. Check with online local system, and that's that. Now we're at sign off time again. Bye.